2024 was a big year for Japan. Economic surprises, shifts in political power, rising parties and politicians, a scandal that plagued politics for the entire year. Understanding these events isn't just about looking back, it's about knowing where Japan is headed next. In this video, we're breaking down the top 10 political events that shaped the year and what they mean for the future. And for number 10, Japan raised interest rates for the first time in 17 years. This also means that Japan ended their 8-year-long negative interest rate. On March 17, the Bank of Japan increased its short-term interest rate to 0.1%, and the current rate is at 0.25%. The BOJ implemented this policy to fight against deflation. Japan has been struggling with deflation since the 1990s after their stock bubble burst. Negative interest rates aren't that common, so this was a big deal. Deflation happens when prices keep going down, which might sound good, but here's the problem. When things get cheaper, people start waiting to buy, thinking prices will drop even more. Businesses make less money, so they cut jobs or lower wages. That means people have less money to spend, making the cycle worse. Japan has been stuck in this cycle for decades, which is known as the lost decades. People save more instead of spending, wages stay flat, and the economy struggles to grow. It's one of the big reasons why Japan uses policies like negative interest rates to try to shake things up. Unfortunately, it didn't do much. It's not like consumer spending changed and people kept on saving. Rather than the negative interest rates, COVID and recent global conflicts helped Japan get out of deflation. On February 22nd, the Nikkei 225, Japan's main stock market index, breaks the 1989 record and surged to an all-time high. Japan's stock bubble lost 82% of its value from 1989 to 2009. Although there was a steep drop in August, the Nikkei 225 ended around 40,000 yen, which is near the all-time high value. Japan's interest rates and the Nikkei 225 value made many excited about Japan's economy, but there are two more things we need to talk about. The dollar to yen rate increased from 140 yen to around 160 yen. While this is great for visitors, this really sucks for residents. The cost of living keeps on increasing and our purchasing power is decreasing. Additionally, Japan's GDP slips to 4th place from 3rd place. Korea also surpasses Japan for GDP per capita. In terms of economics, Japan isn't doing that great, which I hope to address in a future video. For number 8, we have the Tokyo gubernatorial elections. The governor got her re-election, but this isn't the highlight of the year. The highlight of the year is Shinji Ishimaru's rise to popularity. At the beginning of the race, media portrayed a competition between Renho and Koike, the main opposition party's candidate and the current governor, both female candidates. However, Shinji Ishimaru, former mayor of Akitakatashi, Hiroshima, got 2nd place. This surprised many political analysts and mainstream media, but as a spectator who mainly follows online news, I can say that it wasn't far-fetched. This table shows which age group voted for which candidate. Ishimaru won 42% of young adults and 37% of voters in their 30s respectively. He still has the largest support group compared to Renho when it comes to voters in their 40s, 50s, and 60s. Ishimaru is still extremely popular online. He keeps on appearing on business and political YouTube channels. He engages in 2-hour discussions with the governor of Osaka and a leader of the Democratic Party for the People. His online presence keeps on growing, and as a spectator, I believe he will continue to influence politics in 2025. In fact, Ishimaru announced that he will create a regional political party in Tokyo. This July, the Tokyo Metropolitan Government will have their election. Although Ishimaru couldn't win the governor's seat, his regional party may shake up Japanese politics. I hope to create a video on Ishimaru's regional party once he officially shares his plans. For number 7, Prime Minister Kishida stepped down in August. A Japanese prime minister can run as long as his or her party wins the majority in parliament. However, given the ruling party's dominance, the LDP has an inter-party rule that the party president may run up to 3 terms of 3 years. Although he shows signs of seeking re-election, on August 14, Kishida announced that he would be stepping down once his current term is done. During his press conference, he mentioned that the best way to show that the LDP would change is for me to withdraw. The Unification Church and the LDP fundraising money scandal tanked his approval rating. People remember him as Rose Megane or tax-increasing glasses for raising military budget taxes. Overall though, I think he did fine, but not spectacular. You can check out this video to learn more about Kishida's performance. Because Prime Minister Kishida stepped down, the ruling party had to select the new party president, or the future prime minister. In September, 9 candidates officially ran for party president. Out of the 9, there were 3 main contestants: Koizumi, Ishiba, and Takaichi. While the LDP is generally a moderate conservative party, the party is a catch-all party in the sense that there is a spectrum of liberal to conservative members in this political party. Koizumi and Ishiba are on the moderate liberal side, while Takaichi, the spiritual successor of former Prime Minister Abe, is on the conservative side. Japan's ruling parties select their president with a 2-round voting system, which basically allows a second round of votes if no one gets a majority in the first round. In the first round, Takaichi got more votes than Ishiba, but she did not secure a majority. In the second round, Ishiba got more votes than Takaichi. This allows Shigeru Ishiba to become the party president and ultimately the Prime Minister of Japan. The overall takeaway is a clear split between the conservative and liberal faction of the LDP. It's likely that the former Prime Minister Suga and Kishida supported Ishiba, while former Prime Minister Asuo supported Takaichi. The leading conservatives haven't joined Ishiba's cabinet. Recently, Takaichi has been more active and has questioned Ishiba's policies. Takayuki Kobayashi, another conservative candidate who got 5th place in the presidential race, also created his own study group. Events following the presidential election will further split the LDP, and I wouldn't be surprised if we see a conservative versus liberal LDP struggle in 2025. But before talking about these events, let's talk about the 5th important event of the year: leadership changes. 4 main parties changed their leaders. Let's start with the obvious: Shigeru Ishiba from the Liberal Democratic Party. Ishiba is known as the Tonai Yato, or the opposition party within the party, as he opposed both former Prime Ministers Asuo and Abe. You can learn more in detail about his background in this video, but in general, Ishiba comes from the liberal branch of the LDP. He wants to revise the US-Japan Status of Force Agreement, establish a communication office in Pyongyang, North Korea to resolve the unresolved abduction issues, create an Asian NATO, and establish the Disaster Management Agency. Most of these policies will probably be challenged by his own party members. The main opposition party, the Constitutional Democratic Party, also selected a new president: former Prime Minister Yoshihiko Noda. Noda served as Prime Minister from September 2011 to December 2012. He was the last Prime Minister to serve before Shinzo Abe. From 2009 to 2012, the Democratic Party of Japan, the predecessor of the Constitutional Democratic Party, held power. Noda increased consumption taxes from 5% to 10%, which was extremely unpopular. The CDP has been gaining momentum from April 2024, but the October election results prove that their momentum is slowing down. The Kome Party, which is in a political coalition with the LDP, changed their leader twice this year, one time before the October 2024 election and one time after the election. The Japan Innovation Party, which is the second largest opposition party, also performed poorly in the October 2024 election. On December 1st, the party elected Hirofumi Yoshimura to be their new leader. Yoshimura also serves as governor of Osaka, so we'll see whether he could balance his 2 positions. Seiji Maehara will be serving as co-representative. Maehara is a former DPP politician who ran for the DPP party president in 2023. He left the DPP and created his own political party after losing to Yuichiro Tamaki. Maehara's party merged into the JIP prior to the October 2024 election. Let's now talk about the October 2024 election that changed it all. The Prime Minister dissolved the parliament on October 9th. Therefore, Japan's 2024 election was held on October 27th. When compared to the previous election, we can see how the LDP lost 70 seats and the Kome Party lost 8 seats. This is the first time since 2009 that the LDP has lost its majority in parliament. The Kome Party's newly selected president lost his own seat, so he stepped down after the election. The main opposition party, the CDP, won 148 seats, which is a 52-seat increase compared to 2021. This allows the CDP to be the largest opposition party, but they are nowhere close to the 233-seat threshold. 2 new parties gained seats in the lower house. The Sansei Party, or the Do-It-Yourself Party, got 3 seats. They currently have 1 seat in the upper house. The Hoshito, or Conservative Party of Japan, which was just established in October 2023, won 3 seats in their first national election, making them meet the requirements for a nationally approved party. Both of these new parties are more conservative-leaning than the LDP. The most exciting news is the Democratic Party for the People and the Reiwa Party's success. Both of these parties more than doubled their seats. To further prove these 2 parties' success, Let's compare the total number of votes per party between 2021 and 2024. For the Dewa Party, we see a 71.7% increase of votes. They got more votes than an established party like the JCP. The DPP breaks the record with a 138 increase in total number of votes. Another interesting point is the fact that the CDP, the main opposition party, only saw an increase of total votes by 0.6% despite winning 50 more seats in 2024. With all that said, no party won the majority. When lawmakers voted for the new prime minister, Ishiba got the most votes. Therefore, the LDP and the Kome party established a minority government. This means that the LDP and the Kome party cannot pass any law they want. They'll need to discuss, debate, and compromise with opposition parties. If the opposition parties dislike the government, they can always threaten to dissolve parliament, which means another lower house election. This is why the DPP is gaining more attention and power. Despite being a party with only 30 seats, this small margin is enough for the LDP to secure premiership. The LDP approached the DPP in order to pass their budget by the end of March 2025. The DPP is more conservative-leaning. The party also made it clear that they will work with any party based on policy. The DPP's rise has pushed a certain policy issue to everyone's attention: the 1.3 million yen wall. The DPP's slogan for this election is Tedori o fuyasu, or increase our take-home salary. The DPP wants to increase the tax barrier from 1.3 million yen to 1.78 million yen. Currently, if you make under 1.3 million yen, you are not liable for taxes. 1.3 million yen isn't enough to live in Japan, but it's a good chunk of money that students or retired folks can make over a span of a year. However, with inflation, residents' purchasing power is decreasing as product prices are increasing. This is why 1.3 million yen is known as a 1.3 million yen wall or 103万円の壁. Because this was passed in 1995, DPP leader Tamaki argues that this wall needs to be adjusted to inflation, which should be 1.78 million yen. If this wall is pushed back, more people can work without worrying about taxes. Additionally, this will help decrease everyone's taxes because tax brackets will be shifted. The LDP has criticized this policy, claiming that increasing the tax break wall to 1.78 million yen would decrease tax gains by 7.1 trillion yen. In response, DPP President Tamaki argued that the same amount of money would enter people's pocket and a free market will overall benefit society. Eventually, the LDP and Kome party came to agreement to move the wall to 1.23 million yen. However, this is nowhere near Tamaki's demand. The DPP will continue to work towards their 1.78 million yen goal. The DPP's current approval rating is the highest among opposition parties, surpassing the CDP. The unwillingness of the LDP and Kome party to compromise further damages their image. While the economy is definitely making everyone mad, the biggest reason the LDP lost this election is our ongoing fundraising scandal. This is a scandal that's been going on since November 2023. Prosecutors found out that the LDP failed to report over 670 million yen as income gained from fundraising parties. Only a few politicians with over 50 million yen were prosecuted, but the politicians who swindled 20 to 30 million yen were not prosecuted. Although efforts were made to tackle this problem by revising the fundraising law and dissolving political factions, none addressed the core concern of citizens: holding those who violated the law accountable. In July, the Tokyo prosecutor's office decided that the evidence was not sufficient to prosecute the faction leaders, including former Prime Minister Kishida. On December 26, the Tokyo prosecutor's office decided not to prosecute 65 politicians and their secretaries. In response to the fundraising scandal, the LDP has been scrambling to gain everyone's trust. In January, the LDP dissolved their inter-party factions. These factions, mainly the Abe faction, were responsible for these scandals. Although the opposition parties were able to pressure some of the questionable lawmakers to attend a political ethics hearing, no one gave a satisfying answer. The party punished 39 out of the 85 questionable lawmakers, but the majority only received a warning. In June, the LDP agreed to propose some laws to discourage future slush funds, but all of these were lackluster. After the October elections, the LDP had no choice but to accept revising these laws in December. Fees used for all political activities must be published to the public. An independent third-party organization to monitor political funds will also be established. While all of this is good, the public is still mad at the LDP. Those who receive slush funds have not been legally prosecuted and have evaded consequences. In response, on December 27, the Prime Minister announced that the LDP will be donating 800 million yen to charity. But let's be real. Political responsibility and justice matters more than the money. Considering the LDP's reluctance to address the 1.3 million yen wall and the handling of their own financial scandal, I doubt 2025 will be a successful year for the party. And there are 3 big political events that will test the LDP, so check out this video. Like the video if you learned something new, and subscribe to learn more about Japanese politics.